I just spent the last 4 days car camping and hiking completely solo in Grizzly country here in Glacier National Park. Was I scared about camping and hiking by myself? Of course I was, but that's why I came. I wanted to push past my fears and prove to myself that I could do this. Once I got out here, I felt prepared, strong, confident, and very capable of doing this adventure alone. If we haven't met yet, hi, I'm Kathleen, a food-motivated hiker, solo backpacker, backpacking coach for women, and the hungry hiker here on YouTube. In this video, I'm bringing you along with me on my solo car camping adventure in Glacier National Park, showing you exactly how I stay safe, what camping and hiking alone as a woman really looks like, and how you can do it too. You might remember from a previous video where I brought you along with me for a week-long solo adventure in Glacier National Park where things didn't quite go as planned. Thanks to that trip, I discovered the Two Medicine area, fell in love with this part of the park because of the beautiful landscape, the remoteness of the area, and lack of crowds, and vowed to return to the area for more solo car camping and hiking. As soon as I got home from that first solo glacier trip, I looked online to see if there were any last-minute campsite reservations available for the following week in Two Medicine. There just so happened to be one campsite available for all 3 nights I had open on my calendar, and the weather forecast for the area was looking warm and dry for those days I wanted to visit too. So I quickly booked the campsite for the 3 nights and created routes for each of the day hikes I wanted to do in the area using Onyx Backcountry, which is always my navigation system of choice for all of my solo adventures. A few days later, and after a 3.5 drive from Missoula, I was back in one of the most remote corners of Glacier National Park, Two Medicine, for another solo car camping adventure. As soon as I showed up to my campsite, I set up my car for car camping, which just means putting up my window shades in each of my windows to help create privacy while I'm sleeping in my car at night. And here's my little hard-sided cooler that fits right behind the passenger seat in my car where I keep all of my cold food and drink items. After setting up my car and getting settled into my site, I enjoyed a super easy no-cook dinner, which was one of my favorite sandwiches from a local deli in Missoula. After dinner, I took a short walk down to the lake to check out the views. I can't believe I'm already back here after only being here for the first time just the week before. I was so inspired by my trip to Glacier last week, especially this part of the park, Two Medicine. I only got to spend 1 night here. I didn't get to do any hiking because I had pulled a muscle in my calf and was really sore. But I fell in love with this area and I decided that I wanted to come back. And now I'm here for the next 3 days and I'm going to be hiking all around this mountain right here. I was gonna hike all around this lake, but the north side of the lake is actually closed right now because of a carcass. As soon as I got here, I was talking to the ranger asking about trail conditions, and he said with the carcass, there's a mama bear with a couple cubs, so I don't want to be around any of that. So I'm going to do the south side of the lake, and then I want to go to the other Two Medicine Lake, the small Two Medicine Lake, and then I want to hike all around this mountain. So that hike is going to be, I think, 17 miles, one big loop up 2 passes. So that should be a pretty good hike. And then the other one on the south side of the lake going back to the other Two Medicine Lake, I think is like maybe less than 10 miles. And am I scared? I wouldn't say I'm scared, but I am a little nervous because I am really in grizzly bear country right now. People have stated in the trip reports that I was reading for the Two Medicine area that they actually saw grizzly bears on their hike. The ranger did assure me that I wasn't going to be the only one on trail. There will be other people out on trail, so that's good because more people, more noise tends to keep the wildlife away, but it still makes me nervous. I have all my safety gear. I've got my bear spray, I've got my trekking poles, I've got my brain, I've got my satellite messenger, and all my 10 essentials. gonna have such a good time over the next few days, and I'm really excited to finally check out this area because I mean, look at it, it's gorgeous. I kind of hope I don't see a grizzly bear, but if I do, well, then I can check that off the list. I know solo car camping can feel intimidating, especially being in bear country, but when you have a solid plan, keep a clean camp, store food and smelly items properly instead of leaving them out in the open, and always have a can of bear spray within reach, it can be incredibly empowering. After checking out the lake, I walked over to the campfire circle for an evening program with the ranger. Tonight, the topic was bird brains, which I hear is one of the most popular and favorite evening programs on the schedule this season. Then it was back to my campsite to start a fire and roast a few marshmallows for s'mores. This is the life. Good morning from my campground. Well, it's almost afternoon. It's like 11:30, but I had a really leisurely morning. I slept in, I had breakfast, organized my car, and just really took my time. Today I'm going to do a 10 or 11 mile hike, starting from the South Lake trailhead, going along the lake in the woods, getting to see actual Two Medicine Lake today, and then going up to Upper Two Medicine Lake, and then coming back. So I think round trip, that's like 10 or 11 miles. Just to see how my calf feels, and then if everything feels great, tomorrow I'll get up early and do a full loop up Dawson Pass all the way around this mountain right here, and hitting the CDT, and I think that's like 17 miles total. So I'll definitely need an earlier start for that one. But before committing to doing a 17-mile hike, I just want to make sure like my calf is feeling good. I'm really excited to see this area. It is so gorgeous. I can't wait to get out of the campground and really get into some of the backcountry. So let's go hiking. My campsite. A little road walking to get to the South Shore trailhead. Just saw my first moose in the wild. That was pretty cool. Don't eat me, bear. Don't eat me, moose. Don't eat me. Made it to my first viewpoint. This is Astor Park. Ranger, who I've talked to a few times since I came here last night, highly recommend doing the little detour. And it's like maybe a mile and a half, so 0.7 up, 0.7 down. And I figured, why not? There's a waterfall, there's an overlook, and what's really cool is from up here, you can look down and see the campground. It is so beautiful here. And there's people on the trail, but it doesn't feel overcrowded. And as someone who is solo in grizzly country, I find a lot of comfort in knowing that I'm not the only one out on trail. Fun fact, it was this view that I saw a picture of on Facebook that inspired me to put Two Medicine on my list of places I must visit in Glacier National Park. And now, here I am a year later looking at this view with my own eyes. Incredible. One way to make sure you always keep yourself from getting lost out on trail is to look at your map multiple times along your hike. Something I do at every junction is read the signs and take out my map, just to double check and make sure I'm going the right way. Thankfully, the trails here in the park are really well marked, which means I'm less likely to get lost out here on my own. After checking out the boat landing and shelter, I decided to press on and hike back to Upper Two Medicine Lake, which would be an additional 3 miles round trip. I stopped at the lake and had a late lunch along with some snacks and electrolytes. As a backpacker, you have to eat and store all of your food and smelly items here instead of bringing them with you back to where you're camping. This is to help keep the bears out of the backcountry camps. After my break, I started heading back towards the main trail. Just had a late lunch at Upper Two Medicine Lake. It was me and 2 other people, and those 2 people were camping at the lake. So I might be the only person on this stretch of trail right now. So I'm going to be on high alert and hope I don't encounter any grizzly bears. On my way back to the main trail, I decided to check out Twin Falls, which was just a short hike up the trail. But there were lots of people here, so I didn't stay too long. This part of the trail has been in question all day. So I'm heading towards the North Shore trailhead, which is where the campground is at. And this part of the trail has been closed because there was a carcass. When there's an animal carcass, that means there's bears. I was told this morning as I was walking to the South Shore trailhead that this trail had been reopened and that they had relocated the carcass into the lake. I have not seen any signs that this part of the trail is closed, so I'm gonna go for it and hope that there's not a carcass and hope that I don't get in trouble, because no one seems to know for sure if this is reopened or not except for the one ranger who told me on the way out. Also, it turns out I wasn't the only human being on that stretch of trail from Upper Two Medicine Lake back to the junction. There was another family that was going out, so that was reassuring. Let's not hope I'm not the only human being on this stretch of trail. I've got music playing out loud because I haven't seen anybody. But if I see somebody, I will happily turn my music off. But it's just hard for me to keep talking out loud to myself and hike. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna play my music. Hopefully animals can hear me and not want to say hello to me. It's kind of spooky. Kind of spooky. Good news, I made it back to the North Shore trailhead without getting eaten by a bear. Also didn't see a single human until I reached the trailhead. Felt pretty good about singing very badly and playing loud rock music on that trail because apparently I was the only one out there. All right, let's go back to the campsite and grab an ice cold root beer, maybe eat my second trail pizza. After having my second root beer, I walked over to the campfire circle for another evening program with a ranger. Tonight, the topic was about Glacier's A-team, lions, wolves, and bears. Then it was back to my campsite for another fire and a round of s'mores before calling it a night. Since I had a big hike planned for today, I decided to get up and out of camp pretty early. Today, my plan was to hike the 17-mile Dawson Pitamakan Loop, which has over 3,900 feet of elevation gain, circumnavigating around Rising Wolf Mountain, and goes up and over 2 big mountain passes in the area, Dawson Pass and Pitamakan Pass. Part of this loop would also include a few miles on the Continental Divide Trail, which really made me excited, especially since now I have my eye on hiking part of the CDT next year. The difficulty rating for the Dawson Pitamakan Loop is marked as strenuous in Onyx backcountry. country. It's also a classic must-see trail two of the rangers in the area highly suggested I check out. I mean, there would be 2 mountain passes along this hike, and I love a good hard hike with mountain passes because it means being able to get up high and see more of the surrounding area. Since I had hiked both of the South Shore Trail and North Shore Trail the day before, I decided to skip those miles and take the first boat across the lake this morning. Good morning from the other side of Two Medicine Lake. I just saved myself 3.5 miles by taking the boat across the lake. Caught the 8 a.m. boat. I was the last person on. I was waitlisted because I didn't have a reservation, but it all worked out. It's $20 well spent. So now I just turned my potential 17-mile hike today into a 14-mile hike because I'm not hiking the North Shore Trail because I did it yesterday. So I'm hopping on here, going up over Dawson Pass, going all the way around the mountain, and then ending at the campground. I'm hoping I can finish early enough today where I can get a little dip in the lake and relax, but it's pretty windy down here, so I was warned it's gonna be very windy wet in the passes. Let's go hiking. All right, this is me. Am I a little nervous to do this one? Absolutely. I don't think I'll be the only one out here. I think a lot of people are going the other way. Ranger gave me some intel and told me to go up Dawson Pass because there's a very short section of trail that is a little sketchy, he said, and that it's probably better to go uphill than downhill at the end of a long day. So there's that. And then also it's pretty windy. I've got my buff around my neck to secure my hat. And it's pretty windy down here, so I imagine it's probably gonna be even windier up at the pass. Everyone warned me that it would be windy at the top of Dawson Pass, with some sketchy parts of the trail. Very windy. Everyone kept telling me it was very windy up here. But no one warned me about the epic views I was about to experience, and sometimes it felt like I was the only one out on this trail. Show you what the trail is like. Ooh, steep drop off. So I am not filming this as I'm hiking, but I still want to show you the trail. And it's gorgeous. I really needed this trip. I needed this solo trip to just squash any stupid fears I had building up in my head and remind myself that I love doing this. And then once I'm out here, it's really not that scary. I'm prepared. Yeah, it's a little windy. Yeah, sometimes being in the deep forested area is spooky, but man, it's beautiful. I decided to stop at the Pitamakan Overlook and have lunch with the resident marmot. No, I didn't share any of my trail pizza or hiking snacks with him, but he sure was cute. Saying goodbye to my lovely lunch spot and the resident marmot who went up there somewhere. Now, hiking all the way down there. I think that's the last pass, and then it's cruisy downhill all the way to the campground. Also, nice thing about this lunch spot is it was perfect shield from the wind, so I can enjoy the views without feeling like I was going to get blown over like I had been pretty much as soon as I got to the top of Dawson Pass. The last 7 miles since I got off the pass have been a slog. And I know I'm close to the trailhead, which is also the campground. And my feet are sore, I'm sweaty, hungry. I just want to jump in the lake. As soon as I got back to camp, I made myself dinner, which was one of my own freeze-dried pasta meals I had made over the winter, and cracked open a well-deserved root beer. Tonight would be the last Campfire Circle evening program I get to attend during my trip, and it was a really good one. Afterwards, I headed back to my campsite to build one last fire and for a final round of s'mores before heading to bed for the evening. This morning was another leisurely morning with a no-cook breakfast of strawberries, yogurt, and granola, along with a big cup of my favorite hot tea. Then it was time to pack up and head back home to Missoula. Solo car camping and hiking isn't about proving anything to anyone. It's about getting to reconnect with yourself, building up your confidence, and creating the kind of adventure you want to have without having to wait around for anyone else to go with you. I used to think I'd never be brave enough to camp alone in a place like this. But the more prepared I am and the more I do this, the more confident I become. You don't have to wait until you feel ready. You get ready by going. One night, one trail, one step at a time. Let me know down in the comments below, would you feel safe hiking and camping here alone? If you're craving solo adventure, whether it's a day hike, overnight backpacking trip, or a car camping trip like this one, but don't know where to start, check out my program, the Confident Solo Female Backpacker System. This program gives you the step-by-step tools, ongoing support, and encouragement you need to feel comfortable and confident with getting out on trail by yourself. Thanks for joining me on my solo car camping adventure here in Glacier National Park. If you enjoyed this video and are now inspired to want to get out for your own solo adventure, hit that like button. Shout out to Frugals. I've actually been thinking about this since I woke up this morning. So glad that I went on that trip. Super last minute. It really all worked out so perfectly. It was the perfect trip, the perfect solo car camping trip. I just feel like it was just one other stepping stone for me to build up my confidence to get out further and explore more here in Montana. But I'm already planning my next big adventure next summer, also in Montana, so stay tuned for that. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel for new videos each week and hit that bell icon to get notified each time new videos are posted. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Happy trails and keep on trucking.